Thanks, everybody. You're listening to Evil Tense. Here we go.
How did you know people were listening in Caracas?
My sister lives in Caracas, Venezuela, and so I was like, yeah, well, the internet.
Well, tonight is nice. I believe we have new listeners in Atlanta, Boise.
Nice.
I don't know if the Dominican Republic counts because we already had somebody listening from there last week, but we're assembling quite the UN, and nice. We would like to thank... And if you're listening from somewhere that we already have another listener, that in no way diminishes your coolness. So thanks to everybody from all over the globe.
Muhammad, you're excused.
Especially Muhammad, yes.
Just kidding. I've been there.
Actually, for people not from close to Muhammad probably sounds more exotic than most of the places we've named. And then if you've actually seen Muhammad, then right you know.
I was there yesterday with we were biking on the path. It was pretty awesome. I mean, it was fun.
We should probably all introduce ourselves for people, because Christy introduced the show tonight. So I'm Todd Hunter. That doesn't matter. These guys are Evil Tense. That does matter. John, would you like to be the spokesman?
Sure.
Or?
Yeah. This is Aaron Stromberg. If you want to say a few words.
How's it going?
Just a few words. Isaac, you want to say?
Isaac has never been on WEFT, so nobody has ever heard of him. I think we were just talking about him last week.
Hi, Mom.
Nathan, you could hit the aerials, maybe.
Oh, second for me. Hi, Mrs. Arms.
Right on. Yeah, no, actually, let's see. So me and, should probably go through the history real quick. So me and Nathan actually, I came up with the idea for Evil Tense.
Uh-huh.
We were, me and my wife were in Wisconsin, with my folks up on a lake up there, and it was a rainy day. And so we were playing bananagrams or whatever, right? And we were just kind of bored. We were like, bananagrams, cool, okay, fine. And so, I don't know, I noticed that she had these two words next to each other as Evil Tense. And my wife was like, that's an awesome name. I'm like, that's the worst name I've ever heard, ever. That's such a terrible name. And we were debating, we're like, no, it's good. I'm like, no, it's terrible. And so, anyway, so I was saying, so if I ever start a band, I'm like, that's the name, that's the band name I'm going to choose. And so anyway, some time went by, and I saw, the Urbana Folk and Roots Music Festival, and it was last year or whatever, right? But I didn't even get a chance to see any bands play. I was just walking around. I think I went to the tent with the guitars, and I was playing guitars, and so I was already I was amped up a little bit, and then we went to the main stage, and it was just some band taken down or whatever, just tearing down, and I was like, this is pretty awesome. It just made me miss everything about playing music, with the band. Just the tearing down is never fun at all, but it's for that moment. I was
would you mind telling listeners? I know what bands you've been in.
Sorry. Okay, so yeah, I played in the Firebird Band, and then also the Blackouts a long time ago, which became the Living Blue, and then I was.
And I already have their album pulled for next hour. Totally unrelated to you, so that's funny.
Oh yeah, and Chris Broach actually he played with us for a show. A little bit ago for the braid thing, but
right.
And yeah, so
Reds and
Reds, yeah, with the electronic stuff, and so
because you were on WEFT Sessions with that,
so
I
for
figure
sure.
We have listeners who take notes and they're never going to connect the dots.
Right on.
I'm kidding.
Do you guys want to get in on? Whoops, sorry. Get in on this at all? Or?
No.
They exist in a vacuum.
Okay, feeling like I'm just talking, but no. So I went to the right after the, it was cold day and they were tearing down. And it was just there was something very nostalgic in a way about seeing a band tear down and the weather in the fall. And I was like, man, I really wanted to play. And so I went to the Urbana Free Library, and I texted Nathan real quick. I'm like, dude, we got to get together and jam. So that's when we started playing.
If these guys are going to be so quiet, we need to swap them out with these guys.
Right on. I don't know. So anyway,
we have the talkative guys who are not in the band and the untalkative guys who are in the band.
Right.
So. Social security number, what hours you're not home.
1, 2, 3.
No, it's 555.
Operators are standing by.
555. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. So yeah, so then we played a bunch of shows. Our first show was actually opening for Cameron McGill, which I saw you were playing next hour. So that was pretty cool. And then
you're right, because he was just back this past weekend.
Yeah, right. And then I don't know how I got a hold of Isaac. I think. Oh yeah, we met at a library actually. I was working at the school.
This was not a bar called the library. This was an actual bibliothech.
It was like a middle school. I was a student teacher at the time, and I saw Isaac in the library. I was like, that dude looks kind of cool. I was like, he just looked kind of gnarly, you know. And then I think I said something like, "Hey, I heard your band. It was cool," you know. And I was like, it sounded like for some reason I pulled some obscure but cool reference. Like it was like Echo and the Bunnymen, but interesting, and I don't know.
Remind me to make a similar reference after the show.
Right on. So then, yeah, we started playing together. We had like this legendary first show, and it was awesome.
We opened for Banana.
Oh yeah, right. And the sound guy was anyway. It was fun. It was cool. So yeah. And then Aaron, we met Aaron like much later on. Well, we actually played a show with Aaron at Mike and Molly's, and I was really blown away because he did the my favorite song by Bruce Springsteen, "I'm on Fire," which is great. And so, do you guys want to feel free to interject if I'm like, it's weird if I'm like talking about myself, you know. Okay.
Well, you know, if they're not going to talk, I'll go ahead and volunteer.
Yeah, sure.
Echo and the Bunnymen reminds me, I saw something on the BBC recently where this guy who died in the 80s got a chance to come back and go on a date. So his pitch to the girl, his pickup line was essentially that since he was alive again, they could go comb flea markets for rare Echo and the Bunnymen Japanese imports.
Nice.
And she was about as interested as probably most of the people listening who aren't quite clear who Echo and the Bunnymen were.
Dude, I should like find that guy. And,
well, he's dead, but he's also fictional, so I'm not sure. But with those two, if you can overlook those two things,
dead and fictional, yeah.
I have the Peel Sessions, and I'm not dead.
Well, we have a live album of theirs right here that I didn't even know existed until I found it right here. But I just thought, you know, a lot of people, it's like, oh, if only I could kiss my wife one more time. This guy wanted to look for Echo and the Bunnymen import B-sides. And I just thought that was very memorable.
It's pretty great. Well, like Lips Like Sugar is one of my favorite songs, so it's just so... It's so good. Anyway.
Nice and twee.
Right? Very...
Twee? Echo and the Bunnymen?
Twee. Not...
that is one of the last 80s bands I would ever think to label as such.
They're very lo-fi.
I should probably explain, since we have so many new listeners, that the rest of this hour is probably going to be live music. So, I mean, we'll talk a little bit more because we need to give out stuff like if you guys have booking information you want to get out and all. But
sure.
If you have 2-3 songs you want to play now,
sure.
I figure anybody who's still listening at this point is not going to be turned off by his backstory and other cool trivia. But I'd still like to get through, you know, not shortchange you any songs.
Oh, sure. But yeah, okay, so we're going to play 2 songs right now. Let's see.
Oh, and if you can give the titles, then
sure.
Mike will be able to actually go back and label the show.
Okay.
Rather than future generations having to come back from the dead and forego combing British flea markets to find out what these songs were.
That sounds good. Sorry, I'm like tuning in. This is humid.
I'm making run-on sentences and you're apologizing?
Right on. It works better when I have the my synthesizer. So anyway.
I think that's true of all of us.
Right on. Alrighty. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way? Yo. All right. Very cool. All right. Let's do this. All right.
We still have pie left.
We're gonna do. We have some pie and punch also. So. Okay. So yeah.
If anyone else wants to come into the studio.
You are listening to 90.1 FM. This is Evil Tense, and this song is called "Be Kind."